Welcome to Crisis in Perception. This is where we examine the hidden systems that shape our world. And today we are diving into a big one, Marshall McLuhan's classic, The Medium is the Massage. This book, it's one of those that once you really get it, you just can't unsee the world in the same way again. So we're going to break down its core structural argument for you.
All right, so let's jump right in with McLuhan's central idea, his big provocation here. He's saying that the technologies we use to communicate, our media, they aren't just innocent tools that we can pick up and put down. No way. He says they are powerful, active forces that completely rework us, our society, and even how we perceive reality itself.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around what McLuhan's getting at, we first have to identify the system he's describing. And he had this brilliant term for it, an invisible environment. It's something that's literally all around us, but because it's everywhere, we don't even see it.
And just to be super clear, when we say system, we're not just talking about the phone in your hand or the TV on your wall. Nope. The system is the entire electric and digital world that those things plug you into. It's an environment that quietly goes about reorganizing everything, our politics, our jobs, even our friendships.
This is maybe the most important metaphor in the whole book. McLuhan says we're like fish. A fish doesn't know it's in water, right? It just is. Well, that's us with our media environment. It's so total, so completely all-encompassing that we stop seeing it as an environment at all. To us, it's just reality.
Now, this is where it gets really radical. McLuhan's big argument was that it's not about what you're watching. The content, the actual show, is secondary. What really matters is the act of watching television itself. The medium, the technology you're using, is what's doing the heavy lifting, having a way bigger impact than any single message ever could.
So you might be asking, how does this invisible environment actually work? Well, like any system, it has its own logic. It has incentives, things it rewards. And for the electric age McLuhan was talking about, that logic boils down to one simple thing: speed.
I mean, think about it. Before electricity, information could only move as fast as a person, a horse, or a ship. But then, boom, electric circuits come along and just completely demolish those physical barriers. All of a sudden, information is instantaneous. The old rules of time and space, they just dissolve.
So what happens in this new, super fast world? Well, our attention becomes the new gold. It's the most valuable resource. And so the system naturally starts rewarding whatever is best at grabbing and keeping that attention. We're talking speed, immediacy, really intense emotional content, and this feeling that you have to be participating all the time. And these incentives, they're not just some abstract idea. They have real-world consequences, totally predictable outcomes. They start to reshape society itself, turning it into what McLuhan famously called the global village.
And we're not talking about small tweaks here and there. McLuhan meant a complete top-to-bottom reorganization of everything we thought was stable. You know, your education, your job, your family, your government, everything.
And you can see the results of this pretty clearly. Personal privacy? It starts to disappear because we're all connected 24/7. The way we work and learn gets totally upended. And yeah, we all basically become neighbors in this giant global village, which means we're all up in each other's business, for better and for worse. To really get a sense of how massive this shift is, just think about this quote from George Washington. It's a casual comment, but it comes from a world where it might take an entire year to get news from a friend overseas. Now, just contrast that with right now. Because of that electric speed, we don't have the luxury of waiting anymore. We experience the fallout from global events the second they happen. And that forces this huge shift in how we operate. We can't be detached and plan long-term. We're forced into a mode of constant, immediate reaction. The whole idea of, let's wait and see, that's gone.
And this brings us to the core idea. The crisis in perception isn't about the content. It's that we get so caught up arguing about this tweet or that news story, the message, that we completely miss how the medium itself, the feed, the structure, is the real massage. It's the thing that's constantly working us over, rewiring our brains and our relationships.
Okay, so this whole situation sounds kind of chaotic, right? Which leads to a pretty important question. If it's so disruptive, why does this system stick around? Why does it persist?
Well, there's a great quote from the philosopher A.N. Whitehead that gets at this. He said that major advances in civilization are processes that pretty much wreck the societies they happen in. Because once a new technology completely reorganizes a society, it becomes the new normal, it's the new foundation, and you can't just decide to go back.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Our entire economy, our governments, our social lives, they've all been rebuilt to run on this new digital foundation. We're so dependent on it now, it's pretty much unthinkable to just turn it off. And all of this brings us right up to today. Because McLuhan's insights from the electric age, they're not just relevant, they're more powerful and more urgent than ever in our digital world.
You can see how the system he described has evolved over time. It started with electric circuits, radio, TV. Then that evolved into the internet and digital platforms. And now? Now we're in the age of super smart algorithmic feeds, the stuff that runs social media and AI.
What's wild is that today's media environments are designed to be even more total, more personal, and way more invisible than anything McLuhan could have even dreamed of. It's not just a box in your living room anymore, it's in your pocket, and it's actively learning about you, personalizing itself to you to shape how you see the world.
So if we stick with that fish in water metaphor, if our media environment is the water we're all swimming in, then it becomes absolutely critical to ask what happens when that water is no longer just a passive environment, but is actively managed and shaped by artificial intelligence. That's a huge question for our future.
Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly.
This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon. For a longer, audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description. If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.